Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look at the Zoom Podtrak P4, and here it is, a great piece of kit. Now, Zoom have primarily designed it for podcasting, hence the reason the name Podtrak, pod in the title of the actual product. But I genuinely believe it can be used for video production, radio, and obviously many other, interview situations, many other things than just podcasting. But today we're going to go through what the machine's capable of and what the interfaces are and what have you. So it's a brief introduction really as to what this particular device is, and you might then grasp why you would want to buy it. Particularly if you're getting into podcasting or you want to do podcasting, this may well be the perfect device for you. Obviously, as well as microphones, it needs microphones as well as the actual unit. Now, on the top here, it's got your 4 XLR microphone inputs. I've got 2 microphones going in there at the moment. I've color coded them. I don't know why I have, but I have. And the idea of color coding is if you've got a setup of 4, 5, 6 microphones for each individual person, you can color code the tabs on each end of the lead, so you know who's got what microphone if you need to turn their levels up or down. It reduces the amount of guesswork, so that's why I've color coded it, so I know what microphone is doing what. So that's why they're color coded. But it's got 4 XLR inputs on the back, and then you got your master gain control for those inputs on the top here, which is great. I'm not going to muck around with the first 2 because I've got the 2 microphones going into there, and then you just adjust those controls just by turning the gain control, and that is straightforward enough, nice and easy, and they're very tactile. They're well made. They're not they're not going to fall apart or come off or whatever, so nice construction. And underneath that you've got your 4 phantom power switches, so each channel has its own phantom power switch. So if you've got dynamic microphones that require phantom power, you can provide that phantom power to each individual channel rather than one switch for all 4 channels. And I think that's really good that Zoom have put individual switches on for each channel. I really like that. And that is great, because if you've got a mix of microphones, and you've got some microphones that don't need phantom power, you don't really want to be sending a 48 volt phantom power supply down that cable to that microphone if it doesn't need it. So it's great that each channel is independent, so that's really good. And then on the 4th channel you've got a mix minus feature, which is basically you can plug in a mobile phone going into this, which is awesome. So if you've got a guest on your podcast that is coming in via a mobile phone, then you can do that. That way you don't get feedback, you don't get that horrible sort of echo effect of hearing your voice again over your headphones. It's really useful. And then you've got a mute channel for each, a mute switch for each channel, and that is great as well. I was doing a few weeks ago, I haven't uploaded the video yet, but I was doing a mic test using the Zoom H8, and it really frustrated me that I couldn't mute each individual channel. And that's really handy, because when you're setting your mics up, you may well want to mute the different channels. Also, when you are doing a podcast and you've got various people in on that podcast, there's a strong possibility you might need to mute a channel, and so you don't get interference. Maybe there's nobody on that channel, that guest may have actually left, and you can just quickly mute that channel. Very handy. You just literally push the button in, and then that mutes each individual channel. I'm not going to mute these 2 because obviously there's a sound coming through those 2. And then you've got your 4 sound pads here. Now this is really interesting. And it's got its own level control for the sound pad. So each sound pad may well have, you can input a jingle, it could be clapping, it could be whatever you want for that particular sound pad. And it comes preloaded, I think, with about 16 different effects, and you can set them up how you want to set them up. You can also put your own in, you can put your own into this, which is great. But that's what those are, and if you push it, then that particular sound would go through the sound pad and would be recorded, and it flashes as it's playing that particular effect, and that will go down onto the master track. So that is that. Here you've got quite a nice display actually. It is small, but it is quite a nice display of your 4 input levels coming in here, which is really good, each individual channel. You can clearly see it, even with my poor eyesight, I can clearly see those 2 mics coming in, and your stereo master output, which is great. That's showing up there. So you've got your master inputs here and your stereo master output there. This here is the sound pad, control for your sound pad. Again, what I really like about this particular unit, the sound pad has its own gain control, gain level, output level, whatever you want to call it. I have come across some units that don't have a gain control for the sound pad. You're fixed to what it is. This is great, but this is totally adjustable. You've got your tape transport controls here, which is good. Playback, record, etc. It records to SD card internally. So on this side, you've got your SD card slot here. I don't like the Zoom fittings; they're a bit plasticky, but so you've got your SD card just slot straight into there. I won't take it out because it may affect the output going to my ZVE10. And I'm powering it via a USB block. So this is the USB block here. That's what's powering the unit. And you can also feed it to a computer. So it acts as an audio interface for your computer, as well as recording internally to the SD card. So again, a great feature. I don't know if I'll ever need to feed the output to a computer, but because the unit is so tiny and so compact, you can take it anywhere, and if you do want to feed it into your laptop and you're taking it anywhere, you certainly can do that. And the fact that you can power it via USB power blocks, such as this Anchor one here, is great. It does take 2 AA batteries in the compartment underneath here. I've got 2 AA batteries in there. That is great as well. So you've got various power sources. Now, the other great thing is, if your external power source dies on you for whatever reason, maybe the connection or whatever, it will work off the internal batteries without any problem. You won't lose audio, whatever. It automatically switches between one or the other. So I think that's great as well. Zoom have really thought that one through. So that is awesome. It's got your 4 headphones. This is the other lovely thing with this particular unit. It's got 4 headphone outputs on the front here, so you can see those 4 headphone outputs on the front there, and your 4 gain controls for your headphone outputs here, which is absolutely brilliant. So each guest you've got in your studio doing the podcasting can have their own set of headphones at their level. And I think that is awesome, because you may well find you've got guests in with a slightly hard of hearing, so you may need to turn their level up higher. Now that's independent to what the other headphones are that the other guests have got. So rather than having one master output, whereby if somebody was hard of hearing, it would blow the other people's headphones off, wouldn't it? Because it would be far too loud for them. So it's great that each individual has its own headphone level control. I think that is fantastic. Now I've got 2 of these going into me left and not left and right, 2 headphone outputs here, because effectively what I've done, I've taken a feed to my ZVE10 from the headphone outputs into the microphone input on the ZVE10, and I'm looking into the ZVE10 now, talking into it. I love that camera, it's a great little camera. I can even see the tally light is on, so I can actually see that it's recording, but it's got an articulating screen, so I can see the big record box around the screen anyway. So lovely little camera, but that's got a mic input as well as a headphone jack, and I've basically turned the levels right down low on the preamps on the Sony ZVE10. I think I got it down to 1 actually, as low as it will go, and then I'm adjusting the output from the Podtrak P4, so it's not distorting or whatever. So you can feed, what I'm trying to say is you can feed an output from here to your camcorder or your camera. It hasn't got a dedicated line output feature like the Zoom H8 has got, but you can modify it by taking your headphone output. The only downside is that there'll be 1 or 2 guests in your studio that won't get to be able to put headphones on because you're feeding your camera. But if you've only got 2 people on your podcast or 3, then that's fine. Feed one of the outputs to your camera, you know. So you can use the Podtrak P4 for video production. And I will use the sound coming off the ZV-E10 for sections in this video, because I've got going into my Podtrak P4 a Rode NT1A, that's going into channel 1 of Podtrak P4. I will do a review on the Rode NT1A, and in channel 2 coming in here, I've got my Zoom ZD-M1, ZD-1M, something like that. I'll put in the video what it actually is, and that's going into channel 2. And if I look at the needles on my ZV-E10, they seem pretty good. I won't know if they are distorting until I play it back, you know, when I do the edit. But so, you know, that is going into it. It's a clean audio. It gives a nice, good, clean signal, and the preamps are really good in the Podtrak P4, and there's a good level of gain, because these microphones, particularly the Rode, needs quite a bit of gain to get a good signal out that Rode microphone, and I think that's working, you know, I think that's doing a really grand job. And as I say, it is really light and compact. On this side, which I didn't mention, you've got your power switch on the side there, so you've got your power switch there, but you've also got these 2 here, which is for the Zoom BT2A. I think it's I think it's a BT2A, a Bluetooth adapter. So you can actually use Bluetooth with it to get your guests in. That's how you get a mobile phone signal into it via Bluetooth. And you just plug the adapter into the side there. It's a shame that it's an extra purchase. I don't know if they could have built it into it. It's so small. Maybe they couldn't have built it into it. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically the layout and the design of the Zoom Podtrak P4. And yeah, I really like it for, you know, podcasting and for audio production. In fact, it's not really any bigger, or very slightly bigger than the Zoom H2. It's smaller than the Zoom H8 and smaller than the Zoom H6. But it's also a lot smaller than a video that I'm working on at the moment for my Zoom Podtrak P8. You know, that is a really nifty piece of kit. But yeah, it's all great kit. So there we go. That is an introduction really to the Zoom Podtrak P4. I shall be using it for my podcasting. I have got a podcast going, but I haven't done anything with it recently, so I need to update that before I really start promoting it, because the podcasts that are on it are quite old now. I need to get more on there, so I will be doing more podcasting in 2022. So there we go. That's the Zoom Podtrak P4, which I think is great, and I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, if you're into audio production or into podcasting, I think you'll find that more interesting than if you are, you know, more into video production. But yeah, great little unit. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button if you do like the content of my videos. And please leave comments in the comment section. That really does help the YouTube algorithm. I do try to reply to as many as I can, but I'm quite bad at replying to all of them. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video photography, audio and podcasting. Cheers for now. Bye.